It started like most big stories do, quietly, almost invisibly. A dusty old lot on the outskirts of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, full of rusted-out trucks, tall grass, and silence. Nothing about it screamed world-changing discovery. Nothing. That is until 17-year-old Jamal Henderson, heading home from his weekend shift at the auto shop, took a shortcut through that field, shoes crunching over dry twigs, headphones half on, hands jammed into the pockets of his faded work jacket. He was thinking about how his mom kept the heat too low at night and how he was going to scrape together enough cash to replace the tires on their old Buick before she noticed how bad they were. Then he saw it. At first, it just looked like another abandoned trailer, dull gray, half buried in the dirt and overgrown with kudzu vines. But there was something off. No rust, no seams, no windows, just smooth, oddly cold metal in a shape that didn't quite sit right in the human eye. The kind of shape that made your brain fumble like trying to recall a dream slipping through your fingers. He walked closer. It hummed, a low, steady pulse beneath the surface like a sleeping heart. The thing was a ship. He didn't know how he knew. It just hit him. Not an Earth ship, not military, not anything you'd find on YouTube conspiracy channels with red circles and arrows. This was alien. Ancient maybe forgotten, maybe even broken. But there it was, hidden in plain sight. Jamal didn't run. He didn't call the police or his friends. He did what humans do best when faced with something impossible. He got curious. See, Jamal wasn't just some random teenager. He was a tinkerer. Grew up pulling apart radios and putting them back together with spare parts from microwaves and toy drones. By the time he was 13, he could hotwire a car in less than 60 seconds, but only did it once, to impress a girl. Didn't work. But this wasn't about impressing anyone. This was bigger. He spent days coming back to that lot, bringing tools, testing panels, listening to the soft rhythms the ship gave off when the sun hit just right. He didn't understand it, not really. But the ship responded to him. Glitches became pulses. Lights flickered when he touched certain spots. One day, a panel slid open silently, revealing a mess of cables, conduits, and glowing cores that buzzed. Like live wire, it looked broken, discarded, left behind like trash. He didn't know who left it, or why. Maybe it had crashed, or maybe it had been dumped here like an old TV that wouldn't turn on. Either way, someone, something, had decided it wasn't worth taking back. Useless. Worthless. They didn't. No humans. By the second month, Jamal had recruited 2 friends, Camila, a robotics nerd with a NASA internship lined up, and Raj, who had a knack for programming AI routines into cracked smartphones. Together, they figured out how to wake the Yaha. Ship up, not fully, but enough to see what it could do. The thing could hover, it could scan, it could learn. Slowly, as they patched its guts with scrap tech, solar panels, and even parts of an old Xbox, it started evolving, responding, listening, even protecting them. They called it Ghost. It was around this time, right in the thick of it, that the second story began. Same city, different bus, same day. Jamal was riding home, exhausted and smelling like oil and copper, when he saw a pregnant white woman step onto the bus. No one moved. The driver sighed. A kid with his feet on the seat turned up his music. Jamal didn't hesitate. He stood, nodded at her, and gestured toward his seat. She hesitated for a second, maybe surprised, maybe just tired. But she sat, said thank you. When she got off a few stops later, she turned, reached into her coat pocket and handed him a folded note. He didn't open it right away, figured it was a thank you, maybe a blessing. But when he finally did, on the edge of his bed, light from his cracked phone screen casting soft shadows, it wasn't anything like he expected. It was an address, a code, and a name that he didn't recognize, but which the ship, Ghost, lit up for as soon as he said it out loud. That name was a key. The next day, the ship opened a door that hadn't existed before. Inside, they found something that rewrote everything they thought they knew about the ship and themselves. Something alive, something waiting. And that woman? She wasn't just any stranger. She was the reason the aliens had left the ship behind, or maybe the reason they were coming back. But Jamal didn't know that yet. Not fully. Not until the city lights started blinking in patterns that didn't match any human grid. Not until Ghost began showing visions of places far beyond Earth. And definitely not until the people in black suits started watching the field from across the street. And when the ship finally spoke for the first time, it only said one thing. They are coming. Everything after that, well, that's where the story really begins. Jamal stared at the words on the inside wall of the ship, his breath catching in his throat. He didn't say anything. Neither did Camila or Raj. The words hadn't come from a speaker or a screen. They had just appeared. Right there, glowing faint blue against the inner hull. Like the ship wasn't just speaking, it was thinking, and what it thought was enough to turn Jamal's blood cold. They are coming. Coming for what? The ship? Them? The world? Jamal stepped back, hand still gripping the folded note in his jacket. He didn't know how or why that woman had known about the ship, or why she'd trusted him of all people. But the moment he said the name written on the note out loud, something inside Ghost had changed. Like a switch flipped, a new compartment had opened deep inside the craft, filled with tools and tech that didn't make any kind of Earth sense. Floating interfaces, holograms, some kind of engine that pulsed like a living thing. And now, messages. He couldn't shake the feeling that they had woken up something they weren't meant to. Not yet. Camilla slowly stepped toward the words, brushing her fingers against the metal. It's a warning, she said softly. This ship, it's not just old, it was hiding or being hidden. Raj nodded, his voice tight. Whatever left this behind didn't forget it. They abandoned it on purpose. Probably thought no one here would figure it out. He glanced over at Jamal. They didn't plan for you. Jamal looked down, swallowing hard. I didn't plan for me either. That night, none of them slept. Jamal lay in bed, still wearing his hoodie, the note tucked under his pillow. He kept staring at the faint glow from his window. The light Ghost gave off at night, like it was breathing beneath the earth. He thought about the note again. The address was in Lafayette, 3 hours away by bus. The name on the paper, Dr. Eleonora Voss. No number, no other info. Just that name and a 6-digit code that looked like it belonged on a safe or a door. He had already searched the name online, no results. Not even a LinkedIn page. People didn't not exist in 2025. Not unless they didn't want to be found. And then there was the other thing. The people watching. They'd noticed them a few days back. A black van parked down the block. A man in a charcoal suit always standing by the corner store buying nothing. A woman in mirrored sunglasses sitting on the same bench, pretending to read the same newspaper every time they passed. Jamal had thought maybe he was being paranoid. Camilla and Raj had agreed, at first. But then Ghost started shutting itself, down whenever they got too close to the fence. Like it knew it was being watched. The three of them made a pact. No more telling anyone, not even family, not even their closest friends. Whatever this was, it was bigger than they had guessed. Bigger than just a cool find in a junkyard. The next morning, Jamal skipped school. He packed light, just his phone, a power bank, a bottle of water, and the note. No weapons. Not yet. He didn't want to believe it would come to that. He caught the first bus out of Baton Rouge and didn't tell anyone where he was going. Not even his mom. She'd just worry, and she already worked 2 jobs to keep things steady. The ride to Lafayette was slow. Old highways, cracked pavement, quiet towns sliding past the windows like ghosts themselves. The sky was thick with clouds, and every so often the bus creaked like it was about to give up. The address led him to a small building on the edge of the city. Brick, single story, overgrown with weeds. No sign out front. Just a rusted gate and a buzzer that looked like it hadn't worked in years. Jamal stood there for a long minute, staring. He pressed the buzzer. Nothing. Then he held up the note and read the code out loud. 910631, row 6. 3. The gate clicked. His pulse jumped. Inside, it looked like an old research clinic. Dusty monitors, papers stacked in piles, cabinets with missing drawers. But something about the air was different, sharper, charged, like the ship. The building wasn't empty. It was waiting. He walked through, careful not to touch anything, until he found a room near the back with thick metal walls and a reinforced door. Inside, nothing but a desk and a monitor. The screen flickered to life when he stepped in. A woman's voice, calm, clear, came through a speaker he couldn't see. "You found it." Jamal froze. "Who are you?" "You know my name." "I'm the one who left you the note." His throat tightened. "That woman on the bus, was that you?" A pause. "No, that was someone working for me. I couldn't reach you directly. Too many eyes, but I've been watching, ever since you touched that ship." Jamal looked around the room, heart thudding. "What is it? Why was it left here?" The voice lowered. "It wasn't left, it was buried. The species that built it, the Kashen, they were explorers once. Scientists, artists, but they were hunted by something worse. Something that destroys potential. That ship was their last hope. They sent it to Earth, hoping no one would ever find it." Jamal's voice was barely a whisper. "Then why did you lead me to it?" "Because hiding has failed," she said. "And you're not like the others. You fixed it. It chose you." He stepped back, stunned. "Chose me? I'm just a kid." "No, you're human. That means something. It always has." The screen went dark. He stood there in silence, unsure what to feel. He didn't get answers, not really. Just more questions, more mystery. But one thing was clear now. This wasn't about luck. It wasn't random. Someone, something had been waiting for a human to find the ship, to rebuild it, to unlock whatever it was still holding on to. And Jamal, he had just taken the first step, but even back in Baton Rouge, something had shifted. Ghost had stopped humming. The blue lights had faded. Camilla and Raj had been messaging him non-stop. One-word texts like signals. "Come back, fast, there." "Here, van's gone." Suit lady followed me. He jumped off the return bus 3 stops early and sprinted the rest of the way. Rain had started to fall, cold and steady, and the clouds above were darker than before, swirling like something was tearing through the sky just above sight. And when he reached the lot, he knew it was too late. The ship wasn't there. Just a perfect burned-out circle of Earth where it had once been. No tracks, no marks, no sound. Gone. But Jamal knew one thing in his gut. It didn't leave on its own.